Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Legend of Korra. What are you talking about, Pedro? Like you guys already did that entire show. We did, but now we haven't doing the Platinum Games game that takes place in between seasons 2 and season 3. Published by Activision.
Okay, the Korra video game.
But developed by Platinum Games of Metal Gear Rising and Nier Automata fame and Bayonetta. Yeah.
And Vanquished.
Basically, they got Platinum Games to develop a Korra game. On paper, this sounds like a match made in heaven. Problem is, Shiroi, they got not even the B team, the C team to work on this one.
Regardless of that, if any of you will recall, Platinum Games had something of a slump error here and there, and Legend of Korra is arguably the start of that one. While the same year they had released Bayonetta 2, that was a game that came out before this game, so at that point, as far as people knew, there was nothing to worry about.
Also,
little did we know that Platinum would not only be releasing some games of dubious quality, but they would also be stretching themselves absolutely thin.
I love how the only...
Like this, collaborating with certain teams, and of course, Star Fox Zero.
I love how the only graphic setting, aside from resolution, is graphic quality, and that's it. Like, there's no VSync settings. There's no
anti-aliasing.
I mean, I get this is 2014, but come on. I mean, this is
honestly, this is probably one of the first odd issues here. Like,
pro bending is a minigame in this.
There's an entire fucking league of pro bending in this game, but I don't really care about it, so we're just going to do the story. New game. Okay,
anyway,
so this game is actually in canon with the series. It was actually written by Brian and Mike, and yes, the studio that does the show also did animated cutscenes for it. And yes,
all the voice actors reprise their roles.
Yes, all the voice actors reprise their roles.
And hey, it even gives us the opening, just like the show.
Think of this as a long lost episode or something.
So here's the thing, though. This came out in 2014, which, if I recall correctly, 2014 was the last year that the show ran.
So yeah, we start after season 2, and you can see that because Korra's fighting spirits. And yeah, Korra's fighting spirits for some reason, but hold on, you'll see. Basically, this is the game had to come up with some kind of excuse to provide a tutorial level, so here we go.
It could be a dream.
So, if you play the Platinum Games game, you already should know how this goes. There's light attack, there's a heavy attack, you can jump, all that good stuff. You can also change between various bending, but the game hasn't given me that option yet. Right now, we can just water bend.
It has been so long since I played this game. Because, okay, the reason I got this game was because, at the time, while Legend of Korra had a pretty rocky first half with Seasons 1 and especially Seasons 2, thankfully it got better with Seasons 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. So by this point, I was like, okay, and hey, it's by Platinum. Surely this should be great.
Yeah, that's what we all thought. I mean,
I already started noticing a potential issue.
Go on.
I have no idea what's the actual range of Korra's attacks.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be like a wave motion, so a kind of medium distance, I get it, but it's never particularly clear what the actual distance, favorable distance would be better
so you can switch elements at will?
No, you press L1 and R1 to switch between them. Thing is...
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
For the tutorial, just cycle through them to
yeah, right now the game is basically trying to show you how each individual bending combos work. Basically, there we go, right there. The shoulder buttons to switch bending, and it even shows you right there on the top left corner which particular bending you're using right now. And that's basically it. It's a very basic action game, which again would be fine. This is made, of course, for kids who are watching the cartoon, so I don't expect super complex combat out of this, so it's fine.
That's the thing. Legend of Korra was made with a much higher age audience in mind compared to the original Avatar show.
Sure.
Oh, now what?
Korra died again.
It was just a dream, probably.
Very good, too. Basically, it was just an excuse. Well, actually, not a dream. Well, actually, not a dream, too. That's actually the climax of the game. So the entire game is in medias res. Your favorite, Jova.
I also say, again, much like in the show, it's always... the real surprise to me was Jeff Bennett as the announcer, because probably 3 stands out the best.
Really not AK.
Okay, I also, to add to Teo's thing, I also have a problem. There's no subtitles in this game. So if you're a deaf person, tough shit, I guess.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, Pedro, you could now. You could
I
have.
can't really think at the moment what's the most accessible game on that front from Platinum's catalog might be.
I mean, this is a 2014 game. By this point, subtitles were practically an obligatory standard in gaming. Like, why doesn't this game have subtitles?
So, how does pro-bending work?
That's the thing, Teo. Once again, I have to repeat my things from the show. I still don't know, because all I do is just mash buttons and I just win. So, I don't...
Just
in this case, I guess it's eliminate your opponent, I guess.
Oh, sure, I understand that. Like, in this game, it boils down to just get your opponents away from the ring, but again, not to go into another rant, but in
conquer the territory.
The show itself makes this very vague about how things work and how things are different. But again, I'm not here to, we already ranted enough about that, let's just move on.
Well, judging from what we're seeing right now is about essentially conquer the territories until the enemy gets knocked out.
That in and of itself. Oh, okay. It seems simple to follow. The problem is, as many have pointed out, the rules of pro bending appear so inconsistently across episodes.
Yeah.
They never exactly explain
what pro bending.
And guess what? And look at that, guys.
Anyway,
Look at that, guys. Korra won the entire thing on her own. Once again, the Mary Sue characterization from the show continues here.
Okay. Let's be fair. For the sake of gameplay, it's to give you a sense of the game here and there.
She's the Avatar. I mean, that kind of goes on the territory.
Well, okay, remember, Dwibs, it's illegal for her to bend any element other than water in a pro.
Korra, is it really... Korra, do you usually go down dark alleyways?
Fuck, tranquilizer darts, I guess.
Not tranquilizer... go on, Shuri, go on.
No, do you want to wait for the scene to finish, or...
No, go on.
I don't know if it's just a charm thing or whatever, but, I have to ask, why is it okay for something like Yu-Gi-Oh! To break every rule under the sun, but here the show can't be consistent?
It really can't.
Trust me, Shiroi, plenty of people have already made...
Hold on. And not the other.
Well, if it helps you, Shiroi...
Okay, if I may. Allow me to explain. Okay, so... Sure, if I understand correctly, you're asking why people don't raise as much a stink about Yu-Gi-Oh! Breaking the rules as opposed to pro bending?
I do.
Well, a lot of people do.
Oh yeah, I know you do, but the general consensus says otherwise.
Well, there's actually been plenty of videos about that, Shiroi. But go on,
Jordan. Alright. Allow me to explain. Well, believe it or not, Shiroi, no, people actually were raising the stink about Yu-Gi-Oh! Breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Essentially. The thing is that, believe it or not, the show actually did address that with the Battle City tournament, where while they weren't exactly one-to-one the rules of the card game, they made it so that it's much more grounded, essentially. They follow the rules of, you gotta sacrifice this or that, you can't just pull out cards willy-nilly, and they also got rid of the stupid... They also got rid of the stupid Pokemon-esque stuff about how, my element suddenly will do that, or, I can destroy the moon and that weakens all your water Pokemon,
the thing is
essentially.
Korra doesn't address...
Keep in mind it's still not perfect, because there's still a lot of times where rules are outright ignored for the sake of forcing some kind of victory on or defeat. That being said, like Jova said, they did make an effort to try to address that problem, to be fair.
When it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays, whenever the rules are broken, it's due to a special plot point. With Korra, here's the problem with pro bending. Again, now the rules should, in paper, seem simple. It's about knocking teams off or taking their territory, right? Well, that's how it seems in one episode. Then in another episode, there's apparently these different fouls or whatnot, which don't sync up with how they worked in a previous one. It gets to a point that where we get to the episode where supposedly the ref is being, paid off, the audience couldn't tell exactly what was cheating because we didn't know the rules well enough. And the sad thing about the way show of addressing it, just write pro bending out of the show, essentially.
Alright, but...
Sure,
Yeah, so if I'm guessing, those darts actually neutralize Korra's power, and that's the excuse of the game for you to actually start regaining one by one.
Yes, in an attempt to make you not too OP at the beginning, there's this plot point where they... Is it chi blocking that you said, Jova? Or is it like Ben blocking? Ben chi blocking? Okay. They chi blocked Korra so that she can't use her bending now. So we have to rely on good old-fashioned melee attacks for now.
I find it weird that they chose to bring the non-benders back, seeing as how that revolution was broken
those
up
were part of
in
the faction
season
of
1.
Amon.
Yeah, you can tell that they're...
Maybe these guys are the sort that really can't seem to acknowledge the fact that they lost.
That's the thing, guys. If you're expecting... Okay, regardless of what we thought about the actual show, if you're expecting the writing of this game to be something akin to the show, not really. The plot is basically an afterthought, and it's mostly just an excuse for the levels themselves.
Oh boy.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that this is a video game, so it's not an absolute requirement. That being said, they bothered to make this canon. They brought the fucking animation studio to participate. They got the voice actors. They even got Brian and Mike involved. You'd think there would be some attempt to give the plot some kind of meat to its bones, but I guess not.
Question: Did they absolutely confirm that this was canon?
Yes. Brian and Mike even had in interviews about this game because how they work with Platinum and shit like that.
It's a very self-contained story and doesn't retcon anything from previous seasons, as far as I know. So if anything, it has no real problems of not being canon.
Think of this game, Jova, as the core equivalent of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Pyramid of Light. It's a movie that
Fair enough.
It's a self-contained story that doesn't in any way affect or get addressed in any way in the show itself, but technically it works as part.
Unlike most of the Dragon Ball Z OVAs.
Okay, you know, I'll admit, I really do relish Pyramid of Light. I get that it's silly nonsense, but come on, no, that's what I come to you for exactly.
So you can use the left trigger to block an enemy's attack just as it hits to perform a powerful counterattack. If an enemy flashes red, that means they're going to attack. So keep your eyes peeled. It's typical parry system shit. So That being said, to give a more thorough explanation of the game itself. So again, you have the typical melee attacks. You're probably wondering, what is that blue flame thing? That's spirit energy, I think that's what the game calls it, and it's basically it's your in-game currency. You can use it to buy stuff from Iroh. Okay. Yes, Iroh is your shopkeeper in this game too.
Might as well.
I would say, to be fair, at this point, Korra could go into the spirit world better, I believe.
Yes.
So her being able to meet up with Iroh for that.
Hey, I'm fine with hearing again Greg Baldwin anyway.
Sure. Yeah. Aside from that, it's your typical Platinum Games game with flashy combos, flashy moves. That being said, the fact that this is being made by the C team does start to show even in the first level because, the platforming is incredibly basic, so don't expect much out of this.
Okay, I'll be honest. Even with their best team, platforming in a Platinum game is... Well, it's kind of like platforming in Kingdom Hearts 1. It is definitely not their strongest suit, nor their highest priority. But it's there!
Okay.
Outside from the race mission, I thought the platforming in Automata was just fine.
Yeah, the platforming in Automata, I thought it was fine, but...
That's definitely one of their better ones, but I still do hold that it's like Kingdom Hearts 1. It's there and technically functional, but it's obviously not the highest priority, so...
Okay, I had to ask this instead, Pedro. What's with the shaky cam?
It's the dynamic camera.
No, that's the thing. The moving regularly, when you lock on enemies, alright, I don't mind that. Is that at some points, it kind of sort of trembles, almost as if Korra was hit when she clearly was
This barrier can only be broken with water bending.
As in, backtrack, come back here when you have the power dip shit.
Very good.
That's my point to you.
Also, hold on, that animation. I love Korra's animation here. Did you notice,
Yeah,
go on.
Anyway, that's the thing to you. It's the dynamic camera's way of trying to immerse you into the feel of each punch, essentially.
Thank you. My
immersion
transforms into vomit. That's not.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Again, that's part of the problem with this game, which, again,
it's not even just this game. Everyone, the shaky cam trope is generally something that I fail to understand on a basic level. I get the idea behind it. But you're really not achieving anything outside, making the audience queasy.
Increase the quality of any
Yeah,
items in
other
chests by
Platinum
doing as much
games.
damage as possible, as quickly as possible. So basically, try your best to combo as much as you can, so you can get a better reward at the end of that chest minigame. Go
I
on.
feel like while other Platinum games have had that sort of shaky cam here, what they've done better is make sure to center the shaking in a sense where it doesn't feel like the whole screen itself is shaking. Like, you feel it's more like, objects within shake with it, but not necessarily the camera. Or when the camera does have to shake, they keep it well and concentrated enough so that it wouldn't make the player necessarily nauseous while they're pulling off their combos here and there.
In the meantime, you probably you're starting to probably realize one of the major problems of this game. This game, despite being really short, tries its hardest to pad itself out as much as can because there are so many enemy encounters and they just keep throwing you the exact same enemies over and over and over and over.
To be a very old school beat 'em up. I can see that. This first level alone is very reminiscent of Streets of Rage.
And another thing this game is egregious with, it pads out how soon you can get back your elements here and there. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, keep in mind, it's implied that Korra's been chi-blocked. We know from the show usually that wears off within a matter of hours. However, if the plot and pacing of this game is anything to go off of, apparently it takes longer than that. In fact, you'll literally have to relearn some of them.
Yeah, basically,
I get it.
Genora is going
I
to
get
help us relearn them.
And you know what?
It's one of those. It's done to make sure that she's not overpowered. It's a flimsy excuse, but it's like.
I guess it's still better than her being slammed onto a wall like Samus in Metroid Prime.
Whatever overly convoluted way they do with Sora at the end of every Kingdom Hearts game.
Go on.
God, yeah. I will say this. I would argue it was possible to have her start off with 4 elements. Like in the seasons, essentially. Just, I don't know, give her basic moves with the 4 elements, and then let her upgrade along the time here. Like, I don't really see the need to nerf her, really. I mean, Lord knows, that happens to Korra a ton in the show.
Even
anyway.
better, something actually easier that resolves the problem at its core, like make it between Season 3 and Season 4, because if I understand correctly, after Season 3, Korra was severely weakened anyway. So
Yeah.
you can easily start with the introduction as the final boss of the Red Lotus.
That's the thing too.
And moving from there.
Unfortunately, that wasn't an option too, because this game was made at the time that Season 3 was still in production, was not airing yet. So.
And as we know, Nickelodeon played fast and loose it, what they allowed the team, the animation team to produce and say, oh, this is the last thing, we swear.
Yeah, okay, I will say this. While the creators definitely had their own issues, the way Nick handled it did not help it, with them constantly going back and forth on, oh, you're getting this season. Oh, you're not getting this season. Oh, you gotta conclude it now. Well, actually, despite the fact that you've made an ending that seems rather conclusive, we suddenly decided to give you an extra season. Or, hey, we'll give you a full season. Nope, we're cutting it down.
Again, as far as we are knowing, by the time we're recording this, it seems that the Avatar franchise is in a better state because we're receiving idea for like a new movie. The Netflix series is supposedly still happening. We'll see what happens.
And apparently, this is actually a good moment for me to mention. The Netflix series has recently announced that it is partnering with Avatar Studios, which implies that Brian and Mike may have been let back in on the creative process with that.
Even in general, remember, we're getting I forgot, it's like a movie based as a continuation of Book 3 of the original series.
Yep, and we're also getting a Zuko project of sorts.
I think the only thing
basically,
that got canceled in the meantime was the Kyoshi series.
Basically, Nickelodeon wants Brian and Mike to I'm hoping now they finally give them all the time and resources that they need to make these new seasons, because we really need the Earthbender season and the Firebender series. Sorry, the Earthbender series and the Firebender series to be definitely a return to form. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's right. It's been confirmed that there is another Avatar series, this time one centering around an Earthbender, because
that was always
the cycle is.
Yeah, it always made sense, Jova. The cycle is air, water, earth, fire. So obviously it makes perfect sense to have 4 series, one with each element being the Avatar, obviously.
If I had to speculate, I'm guessing that since the last couple of seasons and the spin-off project of SpongeBob and not being, breaking that many views. Nickelodeon is kind of trying their best to actually, and it seems they don't really have that many new shows working.
I wonder why.
Yeah, Nickelodeon is trying to desperately, and this in conjunction also with Paramount wanting new content for Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus, yeah, I was going to say they need more Paramount Plus stuff. So, although that's the thing, they are making theatrically released movies as well.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of mixed on it because, like, oh, cool, more Avatar stuff. At the same time, I'm like, maybe Avatar should just end. Like, I don't want, like, the party's
I
over.
really disagree.
Oh, I disagree.
I mean, Deji, in terms of like new content that's not comic books, we haven't had anything since 2014.
It's like it probably doesn't need to continue.
Honestly,
I can actually agree in the way of moving forward. As in, what I do believe it can be expanded onto the past and the in-between stuff.
Especially if the rumor is true that this new Avatar series is going to be a cyberpunk.
Oh well, you don't know that because I told to the others, but essentially, one of my most gripes that I have with the Korra series is essentially how too much ahead in terms of technological progress is to me, because it gives me the same vibe of that scene in Neverending Story 3 where the rock biter son is watching TV, and it's like the thing that I genuinely enjoyed about the first Avatar series was the way its culture treated, but how it was still constructed as a proper fantasy world. Introducing modernity and technology kind of ruins that charm to me.
Yeah,
honestly,
I was fine with it with Korra, but if it's going to go full on cyberpunk,
let me.
Okay.
Oh, go on.
Go on.
Oh, okay.
No, we're waiting for you. It's like, hold on, I was like, okay.
All right. To address both of those bits here, first up, in regards to the whole time thing, I'm personally fine with Korra moving ahead modern-wise, because I will give them credit, they actually did find new and interesting ways to make bending coincide with some of the modernizations of technology, like how,
it was steampunk.
You also had lightning benders providing electricity at the power grid. You had water benders helping out with modes of transportation, and the metal benders with their new train and whatnot too.
Yeah, that's another thing. Let's not forget that this world, which is primarily rooted in Asian cultures of all parts of the continent, not just one particular be like India or China. For Korra decides to blatantly have its major capital resemble instead a western city.
Okay. To be fair, the water tribes were more about the Inuits. That's not necessarily Asian.
He's talking about the city itself, not
like I think I forgot the name. Central City. I think I forgot the name. Also clashes like a sore thumb.
That being said,
I'm gonna be fair though. Like, while we could consider, of course, Fire Nation, obviously Japanese, the Earth Kingdom, China, essentially. What they are doing is technically a merging, because let's be honest, in reality, Japan merging with China, no. And okay, you know what? To be fair, Japan does have their own prime ministers.
Well, I'm talking about city. Sorry, go on, Pedro. In the meantime, I can speak later.
Alright, so to get back to the game, to say something positive, I love the cel-shaded graphics that Platinum is using, because again, if there's one thing I can definitely say about this game is that it represents the source material perfectly, not just because of the animated scenes, but even the in-game graphics pretty much look exactly how I would want an Avatar game to look like. So yeah.
I was actually gonna ask, did they actually get the team from the show to do these animated cutscenes?
Yes, I just said.
They did mention. Instead, what engine is this running on? Unreal?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure though. Well, okay, never mind. Well, hold on. Doesn't Platinum use their own engine though? Now that I think about it.
Oh.
No. Sometimes they use other engines.
I actually forgot what engine they used. If I recall correctly, no, it might be Unreal, because we made a point of mentioning that during development of Metal Gear Rising.
Let me check.
I'll check as well in the meantime. But I also agree on what. Sorry, go on.
Notice, cutscene.
So how will Korra get out of this one?
I wonder.
Punch things.
Oh, hey, Naga.
Hey, Naga, where did you come from?
Well, she's actually been calling for Naga for a while. Forgot the level, actually.
Yeah.
So.
I know,
And
but it makes you
subtitles would
wonder.
have helped in recognizing that.
Yeah, that's definitely
Apparently,
an
it's
issue
the
here.
Platinum engine.
There you go.
They do have a cover.
They do.
Yeah, that's basically a problem that a lot of people have, because everyone wants Platinum to move on to Unreal Engine 4.
All right.
I just sworn that they used Unreal Engine
So
4
what
on
does
something,
these
but I guess
stages
not.
do?
Naga's levels are basically your typical mobile runner. Turn
Oh,
left.
sweet Subway Surfer.
So basically, turn left and turn right to avoid obstacles and get more spirit energy. That's basically it. Yeah, as you can see, you have 3 lanes: the right lane, the left lane, and the middle lane. You just press the left analog stick to exchange between them. So it's your typical mobile runner, like something like Sonic Dash or Sonic Speed Battle, that kind of
I was
stuff.
gonna say that you're a Sonic fan and you're comparing this to Sonic Dash.
Yeah, because because I'm not a terminal Sonic fan that needs to make everything about like a.
Oh yeah,
But Korra is blue, don't you?
I remember very clearly in the show that Korra had to run. Basically, whenever Korra was out of energy, she had to run around collecting all these blue light things.
Also,
Scattered everywhere.
Jesus.
Also-
Calm down for a second.
Also-
the fucking turning.
Whoa!
yeah.
We just went full hog ride from.
Thank you, Teo. That's a good segue. Yes, the turning on Naga is not the best, sadly.
It definitely has some of those blind
You know,
corner
it's not
turns.
necessarily that, Pedro. It's the fact that the game is putting a lot of turns in quick succession. It once again makes things a bit disorienting.
Yep.
It's not just that, but like I said, this game kind of relies a bit on that, split-second reaction corner turning thing that I'm not always a fan
Just
of.
like in the
these types
first
of games.
Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Thank God that they perfected the QTs for Metal Gear Rising.
Amen to that.
Indeed. Also, Empire City is a lot bigger than it seems like in the show. Like, seriously, we keep running and running and running and running, and we never. Also, what
Okay,
the fuck?
that
Yeah, I
animation
get the
was funny.
I get the idea that it might have been inspired by the running, games from Crash when it comes to the animation.
I get that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
At
seriously,
least for Crash, you have your mask.
Not just
so you
that.
can Get hit.
can't you just implement the same health system you have in the main gameplay though? Because I mean, the idea that Naga and Korra die immediately just because they bump into a wall.
Not for nothing. Naga is.
See? See how silly that looks?
Jump too early.
You know, as someone who's seen the show, I feel like Naga should be strong enough to smash through that. Like,
Yeah.
I get
So,
gameplay and whatnot, but come on.
so basically, Pedro, what you're saying is, all the bad guys in Korra had to do was just put a wall up in front of Korra. And
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
it.
just Wile E. Coyote this thing.
Again,
Korra's not the Roadrunner.
Again, may I remind you, Naga, I'm pretty sure we've seen Naga smash through some walls in the show anyway, so, like...
Fuck.
Bonk.
You jumped too early.
Yeah.
This isn't over yet.
Well, she's persistent,
thought
I'll give her
Shirley
that.
said that for a moment.
Yeah, the thing about these levels is that, like Teo said, they ask for a lot of turning and for split-second reactions, which again wouldn't necessarily be a problem. I don't think the controls are quite as responsive as they should be, though. I do notice a bit of a delay. And keep in mind, like I said, like I'm playing the PC version 60 FPS with all max settings and all that shit. And my computer, I assure you, if you take a look at the PC requirements, my computer is immensely more powerful than what this game requires. I assure you.
If I may...
My computer
I feel-
can run Sonic Frontiers pretty much perfectly. So it's not. Trust me, it's not my computer.
If I may, the big frustration from this game comes from the fact that, again, a lot of the stuff that we see feels like something that you see in kind of your run-of-the-mill tie-in game, not a platinum game. Like, again, if this were like, any smaller dev for a tie-in game, I feel like this is what we would have expected. But no, when you flaunt Platinum Games' moniker like that, we kind of expect something a lot more better in quality. Like, even if it's not necessarily good still, like, I think this doesn't feel necessarily god-awful, but it feels so run-of-the-mill that, no, by Platinum Game standards, this just feels mediocre.
I recognize that voice.
Yeah. It's Aku.
You can access the spirit shop by pressing Y on the chapter select screen, or triangle if you're playing on the PS3 or PS4.
Why is the very question? But to connect to what Joe was just said, yeah, I do.
Hold on, Taylor, let me explain this.
Sorry.
There you go. Not to mention we want to hear Greg Baldwin, so there you go.
Sorry.
Not for nothing, Iroh.
Thanks, moneybags.
Not for nothing, Iroh, but we're the Avatar and we're trying to save the world from the evil people. So maybe you could grant us this out.
I need more titties. I'm sorry.
Look,
Isn't that stuff free in the afterlife?
yeah, come on, Iroh. I thought you were here to help us. How come you ask
Oh man.
For a price.
for a price?
Damn.
What kind of mentor are you?
The kind that wants to tell you that not everything in
You
life
can,
is free.
you can even use the "I gotta feed" excuse because you're dead. You're a spirit, goddammit. What do spirits need money for exactly?
Maybe for funding in advertising for the next.
Maybe rent
Spirit World
You
see what I mean?
collection or
You see what I mean? This is the kind of game where the developers thought of the game systems first, and everything regarding context and plot is an afterthought.
Definitely. Like, honestly, here's how I would have framed this shop here. Have it be that Korra's meditating, and you need to use certain spirit points to unlock certain things in her mind that help her unlock abilities that are blocking her chi off here and there.
Yeah.
Essentially. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that would have made more sense in that regard.
Instead of a currency system, implement an XP system that you unlock shit in a skill tree. It's like basic shit. Like,
Here's something better, like not necessarily for combat, but since you have objects and everything, why don't you implement a currency and have I keep forgetting the name. The character that got introduced in book 2, this lazy guy, but
Varian.
invent cinema. Yeah, why having Varian your shopkeeper?
yeah, that's a good point. Why isn't Varian the
He was
yeah.
legit the most beloved thing of season
Yeah,
2.
I didn't
So
even
much
think of
they
that.
Brought him back.
I didn't even think of that when I was playing the game, but yeah, Taylor brings up a good point. Why isn't Varian the shopkeeper? That's a much better fit for a shopkeep.
Wait, hold on. Considering when this game was made, I wonder if they didn't know if Varian was coming back
If you take
yet
a
or not.
if you
that's why.
well, even
Remember,
still
by the end of
though,
season 2, by the end of book 2, he's still alive and well.
yeah.
So yes,
That
he
was in jail,
escaped.
right?
Okay. He escaped jail in the confusion of the big giant kaiju fight
Like,
going
writing
on.
out of
and the
my
jail
ass
getting
101 that he could be just on the street selling you things from black market and gets arrested again by the end.
Not to
I'm
mention,
wondering if the writers figured it wouldn't make sense story-wise if it was, or okay, granted, you said that writers were involved. Maybe they knew that, his whole deal is that he's out in hiding in Earthbender territory, which is sort of why he wouldn't be here. Again, I'm just trying to make heads or tails of why. Anyway, Teal, you wanted to say something
I can
earlier?
mention that in the next part, don't worry.
okay, tune in next time, everybody, where we go to the Air Temple Island and hopefully try to recover our bending. See ya.
Hopefully. Yeah.
See ya.